Hey guys, Prowl 171 here, and today we're continuing our ranking of classic and modern Doctor Who seasons and series from worst to best. We are in the top 10 right now, and right now we are at number 7, which fittingly is season 7, Jon Pertwee's first season, and what is apparently at the moment my favorite Jon Pertwee season. I enjoy season 7. Pertwee is so good in the role. He really does just kind of take to the role really quickly. I like Liz Shaw as a companion. I tend to like when the Doctor has intelligent companions like Zoe and Liz, people who can, to at least some extent, keep up with him scientifically. I would love for him to have another, scientist companion at some point, a brainy one. That would be really nice, and for modern Who, a good shakeup for the formula. And I enjoy the stories. I love having Unit back. I love the Unit format. I like him being exiled on Earth a little bit. I think they utilized doing it as a budget-saving technique really well. The 7-parters do tend to run a little long, except Inferno. But I do like the fact Spearhead is only 4 episodes. Spearhead is a great introduction to so many new things going on in this new era of Doctor Who. I mean, we have a brand new Doctor, a brand new companion, a brand new format, the first story that's in color on TV. So many changes going on with Spearhead from Space. And Bob Holmes just does what Bob Holmes does, and that is he absolutely nails it. It's what Bob Holmes does. And of course, we have another classic Doctor Who villain showing up for the first time here with the Autons, and I really like the Autons. One of the things I like about them is they're not overused. In classic or modern Who, they're not really overused in Doctor Who, and that makes them stay very effective, I feel. They're really good in Terror of the Spearhead from Space. I mean, they're great in Terror of the Autons too, but they're really good in Spearhead from Space. Some really iconic imagery with them, like them waking up and busting out of the windows and coming to life, and the guns coming down and them shooting people. I feel sorry for the one guy who gets terrified by them for so long just to get killed right at the end. Or am I getting that mixed up with Autons again? No, I believe that was Spearhead, yeah. When the one breaks into the tent where the guy is and it kills him even though he'd already gotten away from it once. I felt bad for that guy. I'm like, he's so scared. He's trying so hard not to die, and he dies. And I love the fact that this looks so good. I've never seen the Blu-ray version of it. I have the DVD special edition. The Blu-ray version's on the wish list, and I'm looking forward to the season 7 box set eventually coming out because I know it'll be on it. But I've seen clips from the Blu-ray release, and it looks so good. It's one of those happy accidents that all of Spearhead from Space was shot on film. The only classic Doctor Who story in 26 seasons shot entirely on film. And so we can actually, have it in true HD on Blu-ray, and it looks good from the clips I've seen. It looks like a James Bond movie from the 60s. It looks really, really good. It's so interesting to go from how good that looks to how Silurians looks. But I love the fact that, I can watch a Doctor Who story from classic Who in true HD, and it looks so good, and it's such a good story. And it's kind of like the opposite of Shada, whereas a strike killed Shada for almost 40 years. I'm so happy we got it because I love Shada. The strike benefited us here because we couldn't film it the traditional way with video and film, which is what they were originally going to do. They had to do all location filming, all on film. So it's a happy little accident, and I like that. Doctor Who and the Silurians is good. It runs a little long. It's 7 parts. This would have worked better. I don't know about 4 parts, but 4 to 6 parts, 5 or 6 parts, something. There's too much going on in it. I like Silurians. I've talked about it before. It's a good story. I love the ending. The ending's what really makes it for me. The Doctor's speech at the end to Liz about that's murder. I love that. There's a good lesson there for people watching it. And the way Pertwee delivers the lines, and how he's not looking like dead at the camera. It seems like he's looking slightly to the side, which of course, convinces me he's not talking to us as the audience. He's talking to Liz. It's just the way Pertwee does the lines and the way it's shot works really well. The Silurian design is fine, especially for Classic Who, it works fine. I like the fact that the Silurians aren't necessarily cast as the bad guys, they simply have their own view on things. It's kind of a gray area what's going on with Silurians, because from their point of view, it's their planet. And they don't want these upstart mammals taking over their planet. They want their planet back. I much prefer this design over their design in Modern Who, which looks a little too human to me, especially with the human eyes. I much prefer their design here. There's a lot going on with it. It's a little bloated with the one guy who's kind of working with them because he thinks they'll give him technology, and the one woman who kind of knows about it with him. And then we have the one guy who runs the facility who's a bit of a prick. It's the same guy who plays Niter in Genesis and also plays in Invasion of the Dinosaurs. The actor playing him does a really good job, but he's a bit of an annoyance to everyone. So there is some filler in there. And then seeing the scenes of the plague the one guy carries around, which is definitely relevant in today's world, and something people can look at and go, yeah. But there's a lot going on in it. There is a lot going on in Silurians. I just wish it was a little shorter and they trimmed the fat a little. Good ending, though. Ambassadors of Death is too long. That's its biggest problem. It's 7 parts. It is too long. It needed to be 4 parts. You could have done that in 4, maybe 5, but it's too long. I call it the Ambassadors of Boredom. It's just too long. Now, I like the story. I love the fact that it's friendly aliens. It's not even aliens with a minister. Friendly aliens. I like that. 'Cause most of the time, if it's aliens, there's ill intent going on. So I love the idea of a Doctor Who story with friendly aliens. We actually do come in peace. And it's some of the humans who are the problem, some of the military people who are the problem. So I enjoy that basic story. It just, at 7 parts, it plods. Normally, there's a lot of times I would have ranked season 10 higher than season 7 just because Ambassadors irks me. But it occurs to me I don't dislike Ambassadors of Death because I enjoy the story. I just don't like the length. It's way too long. 4 parts would have been good for Ambassadors of Death. And I like some of the model sequences and stuff. They look pretty good. And then, of course, there's Inferno, which is the main reason this is so high on this list. I love Inferno. I love Spearhead. I love the ending of Silurians. And I like the story of Ambassadors of Death, but I love Inferno. Inferno is one of probably my top 5, definitely top 10, but probably top 5 favorite Doctor Who stories of all time. It's my favorite Pertwee story. It is 7 parts and it never drags. It is probably the only 7-parter I've ever seen where it doesn't need to be any shorter. I mean, it wouldn't work at shorter. It has a lot going on in it because it's having to balance the drilling stuff with the parallel Earth stuff. And I don't know, just the cast is great. The guy playing Stallman does such a good job as Stallman. I really like him playing Stallman. It's nice to see the actors getting to play these kind of darker versions of themselves. I know Carolyn John, I think she liked playing the alternate world Liz more than she did regular Liz, and seeing the Brigadier get to play, Nicholas Courtney get to play the brigade leader. He does ham it up a little bit too there with the scar and the eye patch, which is iconic. I think that's one of the reasons that story's so memorable is the eye patch and the scar on the brigade leader. Getting to see Benton as kind of a bad guy. It's interesting because Parallel Universe Benton doesn't strike me as a whole lot different than regular Benton. It's just those few little personality quirks that makes him different. Like him growing up in this kind of world makes him different. So it's interesting to see John Levine get to do that. And of course, watching him turn into a Primoid later. The Primoids, I think, are done pretty well. The teeth look fake. I don't really like how the teeth look, but other than that, they look good. And the fact they're pretty much contagious just by touching you. And I like how it's not just a physical change. You see them affected mentally. Like you see them kind of in a daze before they change. Or in Stallman's case, how it's slowly affecting him. Like him wanting it, warmer. Him, little things he's doing. The fact that he becomes incessant on the drilling, not ceasing. How it's slowly affecting his mind and he doesn't even realize it. I enjoy that. The cast all do a really good job in this. I like the guy playing Sir Keith, who I think is one of the guys who plays, Jago in Lightfoot. Jago, I think he plays Jago in it. I think that's him. The same guy who plays Jago in Talons, I think. I like him. He's a good Sir Keith. So I love Inferno, and the fact that that whole parallel world dies basically. The Doctor can't save them. He tries, but he's too late. And the fact that those billions of people that die, affects him later. You see that come up in Mind of Evil, where he's still mentally suffering the effects of that just huge loss of life he couldn't prevent. And I think it's interesting that he can't take even those few people back with him because, those alternate versions can't exist on our world. Now, whether it's morally wrong and he can't do it or just physically it can't happen where they're in both universes, I think it's fact where, no, I can't take. I think that's neat. And it has some really good cliffhangers in it. I enjoy some of the cliffhangers. I love Inferno. I can't. It's so hard to describe all the reasons why I love Inferno. It's just so much going on that feels executed perfectly. And I have the original release on DVD. I've never gotten the special edition. That's on the wish list too. But even with just the regular edition, which doesn't quite have the same restoration, it always looks good and pops for me. I love Inferno. So I like season 7. I mean, there's no bad stories in it. My biggest complaint again is Ambassadors of Death's length. But all of the stories are good, and with 2 of them just being absolutely phenomenal. So season 7, John Pertwee's first season. What do you think of it? Is it your favorite Pertwee season? Comment down below and let me know. Other things to do, click the like button and the subscribe button. And then all the other fun stuff that's down in the description, links to the Patreon, links to the Amazon wish list, P.O. Box, all that fun stuff. I want to give a shout out to 2 of my top tier patrons, Steve and Colin. I appreciate their continued support as I do the support of all of my patrons. Most importantly, I also want to give a shout out to Paul Bailey because this ranking the seasons kind of 1 video per week was his idea. It's a phenomenal idea. He's doing his own list as well. And I definitely wanted to give him credit for that and give him a shout out for that. And also, thank you for watching.